Have you ever felt like sustainability is just this kind of vague corporate buzzword? Well, today we're going to change all that. We are going to show you exactly how companies are turning their green goals into hard numbers, numbers that investors actually pay attention to. And it's all thanks to a framework called the SASB standards. So let's get right into it.
So why should you care about these standards? Because this isn't some small niche framework we're talking about. Back in 2022, they were brought under the IFRS Foundation. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because that's the same global organization that sets the rules for financial accounting all over the world. This is a huge deal. It means sustainability data is now being treated with the same level of seriousness as a company's balance sheet.
Okay, so what exactly is a sustainability accounting standard? Well, think of it as a tool. At its heart, it's a set of 77 super specific playbooks, with one for pretty much every industry you can think of. And they're designed to help companies zero in on and report the sustainability stuff that could actually hit their financial performance. Their cash flow, their ability to get loans, their bottom line.
Here's the game plan for today. We're going to start broad, just making sure we're all on the same page about what SASB standards are. Then we'll narrow our focus to one specific industry, building products. From there, we'll get really granular and look at how to calculate one single critical metric, the energy footprint. And finally, we'll zoom back out to see why getting these numbers right is so incredibly important.
All right, so part one, what are these SASB standards? Let's think of them as the official rulebook for reporting on sustainability. The whole point here is pretty simple. It's to connect what a company is doing on the sustainability front to what investors really care about. SASB helps cut through all the noise by focusing only on the issues that present a real financial risk or a genuine opportunity for the business.
Now let's make this real. Section 2, Key Topics for Building Products. So we're moving from that general rulebook to a much more focused playbook designed for just this one industry.
So for a company that makes, say, flooring or office furniture, the SASB standard points to 4 main areas they need to watch. First, there's energy management, which is a massive cost. Then you've got chemicals and products. That's a big regulatory risk. You also have life cycle impacts, which is all about waste and efficiency. And finally, wood supply chains, a huge risk when it comes to raw materials. We're going to zero in on that very first one, energy management.
And that brings us right to the heart of this whole explainer. Section 3, Calculating your energy footprint. We are going to walk through the exact step-by-step process for reporting on metric CG BF13A.1.
So, why so much focus on energy? Well, the standard itself tells us exactly why with this quote. For companies making building products, they're often working with razor-thin profit margins. So, for them, energy isn't just some environmental checkbox, it's a critical business cost. Every single dollar they save here goes straight to the bottom line.
So how do you actually report this? Well, the standard breaks it down into 3 really clear, simple steps. First, you got to figure out your total energy use. Second, you calculate what slice of that pie comes from the grid. And third, you figure out what percentage is from renewable sources. That's it. Let's break each one down. Okay, step 1. This is your foundation. You have to report the total energy you've consumed from all sources. And that means everything. The electricity you buy from the utility company, the natural gas you burn in your furnaces, and even any power you generate yourself, like from solar panels on the factory roof. It all gets added together and reported in one standard unit, gigajoules. Now, for step 2, calculating your grid percentage. And this is where you can really see the beautiful simplicity of the standard. The formula is right there. You just take the amount of electricity you bought from the grid and divide it by that total energy number from step 1. This gives investors a super clear picture of just how much you rely on the traditional power network. And step 3, you guessed it, follows the exact same logic, but for renewables. You take your total renewable energy consumption and divide it by your total energy number. Simple enough, right? But here's the key question. What actually counts as renewable? The standard is super specific about this. It's not just a fuzzy marketing term. Renewable energy is defined as energy from sources that replenish themselves faster than we use them. Things like geothermal, wind, solar, hydro, and biomass. But there's some really important fine print you have to know. Okay, this part is absolutely critical. You can't just say you use renewable energy. You have to prove you own the rights to its greenness. The best way to think about it is like a title or a deed, but for clean energy. These are called Renewable Energy Certificates, or RECs. So, if you have solar panels on your roof, you can only count that energy as renewable if you also hold on to those RECs.
You can't sell the REC to someone else and also claim you used the green power. It's all about preventing double counting and making sure the claims are real and verifiable. Okay, so let's zoom back out and bring this all together. We've done the math, but so what? That brings us to our final section, why these numbers matter. This is where we turn a simple calculation into a real competitive advantage.
Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got the kind of vague, fuzzy promises we see in press releases all the time. We're committed to going green. Okay. But on the right, you have the hard, comparable data that comes from SASB reporting. We consumed 850,000 gigajoules of energy, and 15% of it was renewable. See? This is the difference between marketing and true accountability. It's how you go from just saying you're green to proving it with numbers that investors can actually trust.
And that accountability? It has a real impact on the business. When you report accurately and consistently, you increase investor confidence. You're better able to manage risks from new climate regulations. And you know what? The very act of measuring this stuff helps you find new ways to be more efficient and save money. It protects your reputation, and, in the long run, it builds serious brand value. So, we'll leave you with a question. We've walked through the what, the why, and the how for one very specific, very powerful metric. Now that you know how to calculate it, what story do your company's energy numbers tell? Thanks for tuning in.